Can you believe it is just about middle of April and we're still cutting firewood and it's starting to snow. It's only in the 30s, cold. It has been really cold and I don't get it, but I was hoping by this point to have spring weather coming, get into those food plots, get all that stuff done. We're not quite there yet. Got the saw out here. We got the steel chainsaw and we're gonna cut some firewood yet again. Now we've been blessed with a whole bunch of dead ash trees. I know that sounds odd, but having cut all the ash trees right here in this little grove next to the house has been a good thing for us because it's left a whole bunch of, we got all the dead stuff out so it won't fall on the buildings. That was important, but also it gave us a chance to have a whole bunch of really, really good firewood right here by the house. So we've been whittling away on that and cutting that mostly as our firewood throughout this whole winter. I haven't really had to go into the woods, less disturbance in the woods, all that good stuff. And we're cleaning up the grove here, cleaning the place up at the same time. So today we will be using the Forest Master Quick Fire Sawhorse. This is the neatest little invention. I saw this on YouTube, saw it somewhere on the internet, and watched a couple of videos. There isn't a lot on it, but man, what a handy tool it is. You know how you get all that pole wood, the limbs, the small trunk, stuff like that, that lays on the ground, and you got to bend over to cut it, it kills your back. A lot of movement, a lot of bending, and you're putting your saw chain right in the dirt, so you're making your saw dull in the process of cutting all that stuff up. Then you got to roll it over and clean the bottom of it off before you cut it off and all that kind of stuff. Here you don't have to do that. This thing allows you to suspend those limbs up in the air at a perfect angle. You can run them through here, cut them right off, not a problem. Makes quick work of all this stuff, especially if you have a helper like Genevieve to go through and do some of the loading of it and everything else. One person, you got to set the saw down, it's a lot more work, but with two people, this is a great, great tool. And with long trunks, long branches, long limbs, you can run those all the way through and cut it off both sides. As long as you cut the back end off first, leave the weight on the front end so it's suspended, you won't have any trouble. So now it's time for Genevieve and I to get busy. We're going to go through and clean up all this limbwood right here, get this part done. The next weekend we'll work on some more of the bigger trunks, cut them up and split them next weekend. But for right now, we should have plenty of good ash firewood with just these limbs.
Had my old taste. Why can't you get off of my case? It's just a joke, no need to fuss. Why spoil the fun for the rest of us? Get over yourself. I said get over yourself. Before you hurt yourself or somebody else. Yourself a job, playing the game. You're gonna make yourself a big name. Elected to serve, the taxes you pay. You think you know what's best for me. Get over yourself.
Let's see if this works. This is the third time now that I've recorded this little outro. The first time it wasn't focusing, I got a ND filter on there. It makes it hard to focus. The last time I did it, then I did it again and I had the microphone turned off. So hopefully we've got sound and focus and everything, just like regular videos. As you can see, quick work of this wood. It went right through here. It took us like 10 minutes to cut up a nice Ranger load of firewood. Not the biggest load of firewood, that's for sure, but certainly enough to get us through the week. And hopefully the weather cooperates. Hopefully spring is on its way and we won't have this problem going forward. That's the hope anyway. So if you're interested in this sort of thing, a couple quick observations. One is you got to have another person helping you. You have to set the saw down, load it, and then pick the saw back up. It's going to be a pain. And my saw would probably quit running that way anyway. So you really do need another person. And you want to have a safe routine when you're doing it. I always have her go in to my right away from the saw, and I pull the saw to my left. And that way she's loading it and she's not near the chain. You don't want the person that's helping you to get hit with that bar or with that saw chain. Very important. So once you've done that, basically you have that routine down. It works pretty good. And secondly, you know how the chainsaws are kind of right-handed? The chain and the bar are on the right-hand side of the saw. You're going to want to load it and cut up with the right-hand side, with your right hand toward the sawhorse as you're going up the log. And the reason for that is that you can get closer to the sawhorse without worrying about hitting the metal. It just works out that way. Just the two observations. Other than that, this thing is an A+. It is thumbs up. It works great. I can't see myself cutting wood in the woods. I'll take this right down the woods and cut stuff. After you hinge cut a whole bunch of wood on your property and the deer exhaust all that as a resource, you can block it up with this thing, run those limbs right, just cut it off, run that tree right into this sawhorse, cut it up and make quick work of it. So, thumbs up.
That was a good one.